Ladies and gentlemen, this is 99 miles per hour with Perci Garner, and we'd like to thank our sponsor, Your Pizza, the finest pizza anywhere. But if you don't like pizza, which everyone does, they got wings, sandwiches, subs, and of course salads for those of you who like to be healthy, not like me. Also, I would like to mention the network that allows me to have this podcast, and that is the Get Level Podcast Network. There's plenty of other podcasts, a lot of content to get through. And also, go check out the website, getlevelpod.com. It'll be up somewhere around here. Go there, check out all the websites. You can also listen. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, you can listen audible without any interruptions. And then also, to the Rainbow Connection. I am the new executive director there, and we are having our telethon that we have every year. And we're expecting big things, even though in these tough times, we know the community can always come through. That is March 7th, starting at 11 a.m. And then also my scholarship fund, also trying to raise money for a Dover student in these hard times to get some help for them to attend college.
Welcome to me casa, make yourself at home, do your do. Welcome to my pad, this your lab, go create your move.
Welcome to 99 Miles Per Hour podcast with me, your host, Perci Garner. I got a special guest today. Y'all don't even know. This is, we go back, well, sort of, college. I met this dude in college. We played college football together. Dude, like, the relationship we got just from those 4 years has been crazy. Obviously, he was a little bit better at football than I was. Let him tell it. And and unfortunately, he's from Michigan, but we don't hold that against him. But, like, to get him on the show means a lot. Everybody, welcome Brandon Carnegie. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I was kind of wondering why it was taking you so long to have me on the show, man. I was feeling hurt.
I just get caught up with different guests, and during this whole Ohio State-Michigan debacle, I didn't want to have you on, with Michigan quitting and stuff. No, I'm joking. Yeah. I'm messing.
It's been rough. It's been rough. I guess we'll see what happens. But right now, it's a tough period for them.
It's all good. I mean, who do you support, Michigan State or Michigan?
Michigan. Michigan all day. When I was 5, I first moved here. That was like one of the first things on the playground. You got to figure out which side you're on. So I like blue, and that was it.
Nice. But your wife, Megan, who does she support?
Yeah, she went to Michigan State, but quietly she cheers for the Wolverine.
Oh, okay. Well, Brandon, I had you on here just because obviously I want to talk about our relationship and, what we've gone through together and just before we met each other and how we resemble there. And then also talk about our relationship and playing football together. But then, your business sense and your work ethic, because I've always looked up to you for that, because it was kind of crazy. I remember we were so close and then you just went dark. Towards the end of our college career, you just were always studying and working on music. I don't know if I'm allowed to put that out there, but you was working on music and all this stuff. And I was just like, this dude is out of, like, you went dark like LeBron in the playoffs. But let's just start, with, I guess current events and where you're at right now and just what you're doing.
Yeah, so currently I work for CBRE, commercial real estate firm. None of my views are for them. I'll just put that out there, sometimes media things. But yeah, I've been with the company, for about 8 years. I started in research, so it's kind of the best route for me. And I encourage anyone that's looking into real estate or really any career, if there's a entry-level position where you kind of learn the core function, I think it's important. With what I do now, it's commission-based, and it's a very long trajectory. And the people in our company that are doing the best have been doing it for, 25, 30 years. So in terms of, transactions, I'm in year 6. So I'm kind of just in the first quarter, of the career. And I tie everything to sports. So, just kind of getting through the first quarter, starting the second quarter right now of my career and looking to just really grow. I spent a lot of time this year just self-reflecting. It's been kind of crazy, obviously, with whether it's, anything political or race related. There's been a lot of changes that we've seen this year in the country. And for now, as we wrap up this year, just trying to really reset, reflect, and then just put plans into motion to have a successful, 2021 and beyond.
That's crazy. The first quarter is 8 years. That's crazy. That's a long time. No, but you sell yourself short. This brand has done tremendous work, and I mean, we talk all the time. Even more than I talk with my own family. I guess I gotta admit, but because we always have that little vent session we have with each other when stuff's not going. If Chris or Megan's acting out of control, no, I'm just. But I guess I mean, you hit the George Floyd and all that stuff, but how has that affected what you've been doing day to day basis on the commercial real estate, or has it really had a big impact or no?
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact. Heading into by June, it would have been my best year, revenue wise. I previously, when I first started actually doing transactions, which was in 2014, I was working with another individual in our office, and then started out for my own in February 2019. So for me, it wasn't necessarily starting over, but I was going out to the market on my own for the first time. So that in itself was just a new thing and a new hurdle. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty with COVID. I primarily work with, companies looking for office space. So as you know, a lot of companies are shut down right now and just don't know, what their plans are going to be going forward. Thankfully, I do have a part of my business as well that's industrial related. So I was able to kind of backfill and do some transactions in that space. But yeah, it's been tough. Retail's been very tough, as just local businesses and things. People can't go out, so it's been tough for a lot of those sectors. But to me, I'm kind of just looked at it as a way to kind of refine everything that I'm doing, just try to be more efficient. You can always get better, and a lot of times, you can sit there focusing on what's not happening. Well, I just tried to put my energy into things that I can control at this point in time. And then, hopefully all the things that I did kind of in this quote unquote down period, hoping that they will really benefit me as things start to pick up and kind of move forward.
And you said something real key right there. I'm going to have to clip that and put it on the YouTube page later. Shut up, Josh. I'm doing it. But just being focusing on things you can control. I know that derailed me in baseball, always thinking, okay, general manager's here, I got to do this. And oh, well, so-and-so is not playing that well, I should be moving up and all that stuff. And in the real world, I'm pretty sure you can relate as well as, oh, I'm selling more than so-and-so. Why is he getting these opportunities? But you can't control, who gets promoted and all that. You just got to do what you got to do. And that's a big piece of information that a lot of people in the real world, it's tough, but it's key. You got to do it. You can't, cause you're going to get down on yourself, and you can lead to a lot of negative energy if you're worried about stuff you can't control. So I'm really glad you said that.
Yeah. And to expand a little more, I mean, the company I work for, it's the largest firm, and, we get a lot of inbound business, and a lot of times you just see people, well, how did such and such get that? Well, again, however it happened. So, but if you've got your deals, it's just taking away energy from things that you could be getting done right now and positioning yourself for, those future deals to come in. Whatever the criteria is, right, you're not controlling it. So again, all you can do is keep doing well with what you have in front of you. And that time you're sitting worried about what the other person has, you could have made a couple more calls and drummed up more business on your own. So, I think there's going to be a shift in the business. I just think the younger individuals in the profession, kind of like myself, I think it's just kind of a different mentality. And I think no matter what business sector you look at, it's kind of like, all right, the people above you, however they were treated or brought into the business, that's kind of their way of thinking. And I think as each generation goes by, there's a different path. I was just watching ESPN, and they were talking about Juju Smith-Schuster. He's dancing before the games, and they're saying he's not focused. But in reality, these new kids, they're on social media all the time. It doesn't mean they're not focused. That's just how they express and do things. So I think there's going to be a cultural shift in terms of just technology and other things, like all sectors in general.
I agree. I mean, just a quick, insert. I mean, if you watch The Last Dance, Michael Jordan said, if I had to play in today, I would not have survived with all this this media attention and stuff like that. You know, he wanted to be a private person and live his life, and then, you know, control what's in front of, you know, what's on the. Oh, you went away there for a second. Okay, and just control what's, you know, what he can control, like we just talked about. But not that, so you couldn't do anything, you know, the way it is now. So, you know, he's just glad he got to play in the 90s, but it's a different time. And I'm trying to get better at the social media thing as I try to steer Rainbow Connection and get their brand awareness higher in the social media aspect, because, you know, for the Rainbow Connection moving forward, I got to tap into that crowd, you know, because the backbone of the Rainbow Connection, I mean, it's hard to say, but they're getting older. So I need to interest their kids and their grandkids to keep, you know, Rainbow Connection going in the community. But
I mean, it's kind of like Blockbuster, right? I never thought would ever go out of business, but with Netflix, and I could have sworn someone told me a story where maybe they had an opportunity to partner with, maybe buy them. Maybe we talked about that, but it's just crazy. It's like things are always going to change, and you've got to be preparing for the way things are going so you're positioned to be successful. Otherwise, you know, you're just going to be irrelevant. I mean, it's just what it comes down to.
That's funny you use that. And I got one more analogy on that. Michael Jordan and Adidas. Michael Jordan wanted to go to Adidas. He knew people there and he was going to sign, but Adidas said, you know, we don't think, you know, that's best for our business to sign an athlete and, you know, do the whole signature thing. And we see how that went.
Big mistake.
Yeah, big mistake. Jordan's still making money off shoes. Speaking of that, I got some Jordans on right now, but my Christmas versions. But now, obviously, we touched on some business stuff, but, you know, whenever we meet people and we talk about how we met, I feel like I'm always dominating the story. And I'm like, yeah, this is how it happened. This is how it happened. I want to give you this chance to explain your version of the Perci Garner, Brandon Carnegie, you know, our greeting and how we met at orientation at Ball State in 2007.
Yeah. Okay. Crazy. So so you get to campus and, you know, we're going through camp stuff, but at some point everyone's got to go, you know, do orientation, and it's all just kind of random selection. It's just based on the day. So, you know, I get there and I see this dude in front of me. You know, he's got on Jordans, you know, pretty, I don't know if I'll call it a tall tee, but a longer, you know, tall tees from Foot Locker, you know, those were kind of, you know, I'm looking at this dude, he's pretty big. I'm like, you got to be on the team. He's just bigger than a normal person and, you know, just kind of fitting the mold. But I'm looking at this dude and I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, he's got to be a D-end or a linebacker, because this dude has some big shoulders. You just kind of know. You just kind of see people. And so we start talking, and he's like, guess what position I'm playing? He's like, quarterback. I was like, quarterback? Biggest quarterback I've ever seen. You know, and that's coming from my high school. We had, you know, a bunch of skill players. Everyone was pretty small. So just the thought of someone being his size in a QB, it just didn't even, the dots weren't connecting at all. But, you know, we got to talking in line, and it was just, I thought he was an athlete. So automatic comfort level in terms of just, you know, speaking to someone and being there. And then turns out we end up being in the same group. So dude I hadn't met, never had any conversations with before. You know, we end up being in the same group, and, you know, we chopped it up pretty much that whole time. And then we get to a point where the leader's like, all right, we're going to do an activity. So like, all right, cool, you know, Ball State Pride, whatever. And we sit down, and the game is two truths and a lie. So Perci goes first. And I think he said, like, my uncle was an NFL player, you know, my cousin's a famous rapper, and my girlfriend is white. And I didn't guess. And at this point, we still don't really know much about each other. So, you know, this is us finding out, you know, information about each other. And someone, I can't remember.
It was a girl, definitely, I think.
Did they ask you? They said your girlfriend wasn't white.
Yeah, wasn't white.
I believe that was, you know, that being actually truthful. I think, music part of it was
the lie.
It was funny. So then right there, I'm like, man, this dude, you know, we got some things in common because I also, you know, had my girlfriend was white and now my wife.
Wow, your wife, yep.
Yeah, same with Perci, now his wife as well. So just was crazy. And then I'm sure we'll dive into it, but just a lot of similarities, you know, in terms of our parents passing at a young age. And it's just sometimes you meet people, you just automatically gravitate. I think that's what we have. We just kind of clicked right away and just kind of became best friends, you know, after. And we can dive into that more. I just want to give you a chance to hop back in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, it is funny, though, about, you know, how we met and everything. And that was great. It was a great time, and we just had the chemistry. And, you know, from there, it was history. We kind of just always hung out and just been close. You know, I was in your wedding. You came to my wedding, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy because my wedding was small.
Yes, I made the cut. I was very
yeah, sorry everyone who didn't get invited to my wedding. But yeah, I've only had that with one other person, and that was my friend Harold Martinez. We met in 2011 and I was in his wedding in 2012. But no, man, I appreciate the relationship we've had, and you've helped me through a lot of things. And I guess we can I was going to get in some of your interests, like in your hobbies after. We can get down to that after. But since we're here, you know, my dad passed in 2003 with cancer, and when I met you, and I think you're the only person that has been with their wife longer than me that I know. And I think you and Megan 8th grade or something like that, or freshman.
We met in 8th grade. Started dating sophomore year.
Gotcha. So you said you might not be as long as I thought. I thought you guys got together 8th grade, but you said you got together sophomore year.
Yeah, sophomore year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we're about the same.
Yeah, I think ours was, I want to say, summer before junior year.
Okay.
So you got us. You still got us, but not by as much as I thought. So that's good. But just talk about, you know, the situation, go into more detail, because I still think there's some details that I don't know about, you know, your relationship with your mom and, you know, what kind of person she was and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So, I mean, today is actually the anniversary of when she passed.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of, it's almost, so next year will be 20 years. So it's kind of crazy when I sit back and think like how many things have happened, you know, since that time, just the conversations you can't have. Because it's like when you're a parent, you know, you have a different conversation with a kid versus when it's with, you know, an adult.
Yeah.
Like the conversations I have with my dad now are just way different. And I think when you're going through just these monumental things in your life, just to have that conversation, you know, with that person.
Got my eye on it,
Brandon. You know, so
yeah.
I think that's been the toughest thing. You know, my memories of my mom, she was always very big on education. She came from very, very humble beginnings. Like a lot of people that look like us, you know, didn't really have the mom was there, dad wasn't there, wasn't really around. Her dad was never really around in our lives. And I don't fault anyone. I mean, the situation was what it was. But I think from her, she just didn't want to be in the situation she grew up in and wanted to use school as a vehicle. So for us growing up, man, we couldn't go outside until we had those math books done. I mean, we couldn't do it. So if you think about that foundation, like you were saying earlier, like senior year when I was locked in, like that was why. It was like the foundation I had from my mom, and I always use that mentality when I was in school too. And I always tell like younger people if they're playing sports, and even if you're not, right, you don't have as much time. I'm like, what do you do when you have 3 hours, like 3 hour rule? I was like, I would, you know, study and do what I needed for half that time, and then the other half, I'd be playing video games. I mean, you know, I never missed doing anything.
Yeah.
With anyone, never missed like going out with you guys or going to parties.
Yeah.
It's just when I had some downtime, I always got stuff done, and then it didn't matter however long we were doing anything else.
Or how loud we were being at the rest of the house. You close that door just in that zone.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I mean, I take that. I always, even now, just think about, some of the things that I professionally just trying to do better. My dad's phenomenal, but still just having a mom and a dad's perspective, I think there's just going to be different things you can pull. And it's just always best to be able to have both of those in the equation if you can, whether they're together or not. Forget they're even in the equation, but just two people that, have your best interest in, just trying to help you navigate life, man, because it's tough. I mean, even like one of my cousins, you always got it together. Like nobody has it all together.
No.
That's misconception ever. It's like on paper, what you see on social media or whatever, it may look great, but I mean, this year in particular was very tough. I think this year, my wife had never seen like certain emotions, like when George Floyd happened. I think there are always dynamics of being in a, mixed relationship. There's certain things that are understood, but there's still certain things that aren't like driven home. And I think this happening, like stuff was like driven home. And even just brought up, instances in my past where, race had come up and been a thing. And I had actually shared on Facebook, which I don't really post that much, people that know me. So if I am posting,
I've never seen you post anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's normally, I don't like to say important, but I guess we can put it in that framework. But a lot of people I grew up with, man, it's almost like there's two versions of black people. There was me, and then there was like any other person, like people in my family, like down south, that don't have weren't as fortunate as like my brother and I. But we're all the same. At the end of the day, there's levels of, wealth and education in every single race. But I kind of felt like a lot of the people that are in my circle, they just don't have enough exposure, man. It's what it comes down to. And when I shared this story, I got a ton of reactions. I got calls and texts from people I don't even really know. Like they got my number from someone that knows me to reach out and just say like, hey, just, wow, didn't know. Hearing this from your perspective, it just really kind of hit home more with me in terms of just me looking at, well, what am I doing in society, even though I might not be doing something negative, but I know for a fact, like a lot of my white friends are in circles where people are saying stuff. It's like, are standing up and like stopping it right there or not? Like,
I mean, not to cut you off, but it's sort of like I was reading this book right after I got drafted, and it was called I Kissed Dating Goodbye. And it was an exercise to make the way you look at women different.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to look, most men look at women and it's just, how God made us. That's our excuse. But, but this like kind of retrain your mind. And there was a part in the book that really hit home. And I felt, so, convicted about it because I know I've been in tons of those opportunities. You see a female or a woman and someone that you're with says something that they shouldn't be saying, not necessarily out loud, but to us, and it's disrespect, and you don't step up and say, like, dude, chill out, man, that's somebody's mom, or that's somebody's sister, like, relax. You want a dude saying something about your sister like that, you kind of just let it go. It's the same thing. When they're in their circles, it's kind of uncomfortable. They don't want to, a lot of people like me, I don't like confrontation, so they probably don't want to say, hey, dude, don't say that, but it's something you got to do,
Yeah, no, I agree. And I can't tell you, like, just even situations at work, man. It's like someone will be talking to you, and I'm listening to what they're saying and the path they're going down. It's almost like they forget that I'm black.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let's wind that back. It's not like that's because you know me. It's just every person you meet, you should treat the same way. Now, if they give you a reason to think, otherwise about them, okay, that's fine. But just because I've had some interactions with people that have been, racial in nature, I don't walk around thinking that every person is, my wife is white, like family is. But I think really what it comes down to, man, is exposure. Me going down south, like my family down there, is a completely different dynamic than what was in Michigan and like where we lived every day. And just having that understanding, a lot of the people in my school, you know, it's like just the basic stuff, like just having a home, like not having to worry about that, or food in the pantry, or like everyone's got a car. Everyone's talking about like going on a spring break trip. And when I'm down south in Georgia, like that's just not the case. So we had the full scale, and I think that's why when I meet people, I can typically get along with anyone. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you could I've been in meetings with billionaires down to someone that's literally has no job, but it's just you're placing the same value on them. There is no different value. They may not have as much as you or have the same education level, but that doesn't make them like less of a person. And this billionaire is not more of a person. They may think they are, but it doesn't. I don't care about that. Are you a good person or not? That's the only thing I'm judging people on in terms of their value. You could have no money and you're a great person, and that's more valuable to me than a billionaire that's just, you know, a rude individual or whatever it may be. So
yeah, I mean that's a great point. I'm definitely clipping that too. That was that was well said. And I mean it's just something that we have to be aware of. It's just that's all it is. And I think it's exposure for everyone. For white people to be exposed to more black people can breed, you know, because they look at me like, oh, you're Perci, you're not really that black or something. And that's something I had mentioned on, an older episode with Micah. And it's just something like I am black. I'm not black because I speak well and I'm educated. You know, that shouldn't be a lane that, okay, black people, they can't speak well and they aren't educated. That's not how it goes. But, I mean, and you fit that build. You face pretty much the same thing that I've faced in my life. And, I wanted to get into football and stuff and talk about that, you know, and your petite calves. It's like, that's my nickname for him in my phone. His calves really aren't that small, but yeah, I got to pick out something because his arms are bigger than mine and all that stuff. Do you want to tell him who won no, I'm joking. I ain't gonna put you. We used to do these. So our what is it? Our strength coach, who's now the New York Giants strength coach, used to put us through these competitions at the end of our.
He's at IU now.
He's at IU.
Yeah, Wellman's at IU. Yeah. Okay,
I stand corrected. Aaron Wellman, who used to be Ball State and New York Giants, is now at Indiana University. Maybe why they're doing so well, but you know, he was a guy super intense. And he always got the best out of us, but he would always make us do these finishers, and a lot of times it was good when we did the competitions. But Brandon, it's obvious if you spend any time in the weight room, Brandon can push more weight than me and all that, except with the legs. And but of course, everyone knew that me and Brandon were like, you know, brothers. So they would look they always wanted to put me against my friends, and they put me against Brandon. And I was like, oh, crap, I cannot lose because this man is going to be. But luckily they gave us a exercise that, you know, body weight could beat strength. So I ended up coming on top. No. It was the rope thing, right?
Well, no, it was essentially it's tug of war. But
we did the Fisher Price like tug of war thing?
Yeah, it's like on the plastic.
Okay.
So both people are pulling, and, you know, you've got basically I don't know, maybe we had cones behind us, but you had to get the person to that other side.
And what were you, like 180, 185 pounds?
Yeah.
And I was like 225. So, you know how it goes. And then when NCAA football game came out, you know, I had the higher strength rating, and Brandon was a little salty about it because he could lift 225 way more than I could. These are the discussions we have on campuses. What happened?
17 times.
17. Dang.
One time now.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get it up at all right now. Well, actually, pause. Talking about weights. I got 2 children. Anyways, next time. So I don't want to cut it short because I'm having a great time, but we got to get you back on this episode. We're going to talk more about football and talk more about your future career goals and, you know, how you want to get involved, because I know you're on some boards in your community, and we can get more into that when you come look at my new crib in February, hopefully.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and just to touch on a couple more people that we're going to be having on the episode here shortly. we're going to be having Cassie Elvin from the Starlight, and we're going to be having Chris Lane, owns all the Wendy's around this world. And we're also going to be having JJ Borowski from Community Mental Health. And I'm just looking forward to a lot of the episodes we're going to have coming up. But again, make sure you leave a 5-star rating on the Apple Podcast app. We love it. We'll read them, and I won't take as much time as I did last time. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, click the bell so you can be notified every time I come with a new video. Thank everybody for tuning in. Brandon, thank you again for coming. And we got to cut this short because we got the Browns podcast coming in. The Browns. But no, I appreciate it. Love everybody, and we'll see you next time.
It feels like Casablanca. Shawty, you my little mama. I got a crib by the water. Say me Casa Sucasa. It feels like Casablanca. Shawty, you my little mama. She be on that Henny. I like that Corona.